Alright guys, so we're here again today. It's me again, and yes, continuing in the daily upload streak for as long as possible. Not sure how I'm going to do it. It's my third day of work, third day of full-time work, so I'm still trying to find and fit in the time. It's going very well so far indeed. Thank you very much for asking. So today we're going to be talking about some surprising things that happened on Twitter last night, and also just a couple of other things that went on yesterday. We'll hopefully in the next couple of days do more kind of interactive discussion videos. You guys can, posing a question in the title, because there really isn't much going on for the next couple of weeks until CDL Miami begins, of course, on July the 19th. So stay tuned. Hopefully the content will suffice, and yeah, I'm going to keep doing my best, let's put it that way. So I'll play this clip real quick. Joey Nubsy talking about the substitute situation on the Gen.G roster, and just thought I'd put it out there because I talked about the change the other day. He offered some interesting opinions, so I thought you guys might be interested.
At its core this year was subs were taken not serious at all. I mean, I don't even know who FaZe and 100T subs are. It's probably you guys as coaches. I have no idea. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
But
okay,
the reason
Tom
why
Gravity is a good one.
Yeah, Tom Gravity is a good one.
Yeah, that's a good sub to have. But like all these other teams that have their coaches as their subs, it's end of the season, so now it's all retrospective, whatever. Why not?
That's why I'm playing Temps. That's literally why I'm playing Temps.
Yeah, he won a scrim map with us.
Well, my thing, I mean,
Devils
has been the sub on Envy the whole year, which doesn't.
Well,
I mean,
it doesn't make Troy.
They made so many roster changes, and they're just.
I think Troy's been the sub on E6 for.
Yeah, that blows my mind.
Or Teep on
Cellium
OpTic
as their sub.
It's just ridiculous. It doesn't make. It's putting a bad name on substitutes for this year. So now we look like idiots for doing something like that, just because we're the first team to take advantage of something like this, where we're using a subsystem the way it's meant to be. We look like bad people. We look stupid. We look cynical. When in all actuality, next year, your favorite professional players, guess what? They're getting swapped in and out when they're having bad series. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
So I didn't really want to touch on that too much. I just wanted to put it out there, and you guys can feel free to comment on that down in the comment section below if you guys are interested, or the many other things we're going to be talking about in this video, especially, as you can see in the thumbnail, Temp having a go at BRACK for very little reason. So anyway, if you guys enjoy, didn't say this earlier, subscribe if you are new as always, I would greatly appreciate it, and let's hop right into it. So firstly, Activision Blizzard announced that Joanna Fairies, who has been the, well, at least running things to some degree at the CWL for quite a while, is going to be moving over to the CDL as well. So something of a promotion, but nothing drastic. So she has an interview here with Activision Blizzard. They put it out on their website. I'll go through things very quickly. So this is just talking about her, just to update. Atlanta, Dallas, Los Angeles, Minnesota, New York, Paris, and Toronto are going to be the franchise spots right now. Then she talks about, some other things. Fortune under 40, 30 most powerful women in sports. Very, very well played. So, moving onwards, when you joined Activision Blizzard, your title was Head of Product, Call of Duty Esports. Today, your title changes to Commissioner of Call of Duty Esports. That's who she's going to be. So, pretty important for us to at least look at very briefly here, to do with how the CDL, is what it's going to be called next season, the Call of Duty League, rather than the Call of Duty World League, to go along with the OWL, which is the Overwatch League. So yeah, my team's focus was really on setting a new product vision for Call of Duty as a city-based franchise league, and to design an experience we believe can grow to become one of the biggest sports leagues on the planet. I think that is optimistic at best, but we will have to see. I'm pretty worried about esports right now, but maybe I'll talk about that in another video. So yeah, that's not to say we still aren't editing. I think that every sports league is always in edit phase, even decades in. And yeah, you can read through this if you're incredibly interested. Moving onwards here, so she's talking about here the CDL Miami. Just to make it clear for you guys who may not be aware, July 19th to the 21st is CDL Miami. So in just over a week from now, next weekend, if you consider this weekend to be this weekend, it will be next weekend. And the first day will be the play-in matches, and then probably another couple of matches, because there's going to be 24 matches for the weekend for the 10 teams. So it makes sense for there to be 8 matches a day, which will mean the play-in teams will play their 6 games, and then probably they will play their first round games against the 4th place team. So, that's complicated, but if you can figure that out in your head, then congratulations to you. So, yes, moving onwards, the final thing she talks about, so we plan to launch next year. 2020 is a big moment for us. Just talking about really what is expected to happen next year. So these are the ones that have been announced so far, working closely with the CoD franchise team and studio partners, etc., etc. I feel honoured to be a part of it. So I thought I'd at least go through that so you guys don't have to, but I will link it down below if you're interested. Moving onwards here, if this will load, I just thought I'd bring this to your attention because I thought this was kind of interesting. This last weekend, ESL 1 Cologne finished. Liquid walked away with the championship. They won the Intel Grand Slam, $1 million. And yeah, it's a Counter-Strike event, but the MVP was awarded to Ziwu, who was on the running-up team. And, you know, this has happened in the past with the Simple situation, or Na'Vi getting runner-ups when, you know, getting MVPs, even though they're runners-up. Now, I thought this would be an interesting question to put out there. Maybe some of you guys will be interested enough to comment on it, but at least it'll be a bit of a thought experiment. Well, Slasher says, what CoD player who didn't win a tournament has deserved an MVP? Because definitely it's arguable that Ziwu maybe deserved it here, even though I would have said another player. But in the past, you can be the most valuable player of the tournament and still lose. I think that is possible, but whether that has ever happened in Call of Duty is, well, difficult to say. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. Maybe you have an event in mind where you think someone on the running up team was in fact the dominant force and they did their best to carry, but it wasn't quite enough. I think in Call of Duty maybe that isn't quite as possible maybe as it is in other games. So moving onwards, here we go. This is the beef. Now, okay, beef really maybe doesn't sell it correctly because it's really only a one-way beef because it's just Temp starting all this. I really don't know why. I'm sure you'll have some thoughts in the comments. So BRACK says on July the 7th, a couple of days ago, I saw this tweet at the time, is this router or router as you guys would say in the States good? Looking for something great so I can kill like Hook Skywalker. So, you know, I thought that was funny. Hook Skywalker, I don't really think anyone looked at this and said that he was calling Hook an onliner. Like, BRACK seems a pretty respectful guy, for my opinion. He seems like he gives players their credit where it's due. So, you know, I thought this was just like a funny little joke that they'll probably had online. You know, LG played Splice, I'm sure, in scrims and stuff online. So I thought this was just a funny little jab. It's, you know, just a little bit spicy, but nothing spectacular, right? So Temp then replies, "You suck, brother man," yesterday, and then he goes on a tirade. That's what I was thinking, Dirk. That's not what the score said in Columbus, because, you know, BRACK 3-0'd Splice on LG. They, you know, it was completely comfortable in that final game. And, yeah, I mean, BRACK says that's what I was thinking, which, you know, fair enough. If Temp's going to say something like this, then you're within your rights to clap back. So, you know, Temp decides to go on a tirade. He says, "Lol, good job in a league match that didn't matter at all. 9,500 record-breaking damage, legit all-time damage record versus your garbage Arsenal event. Stop baiting your team and shall someone for once, you trash can." So, pretty spicy words here from Temp. I don't really know the point. I don't know if he's thinking on an Aches level from back in the day, where Aches would just, like, fire off shots against people, and it was just a good time on Twitter, people going back and forth, just for the spiciness of it, just for the, maybe the attention, or just to keep eyes on Call of Duty to some degree, because this seems completely unprovoked, and maybe Temp does actually think this, but my perspective is it probably doesn't fully represent his opinions. He probably thinks this to some degree, but he's probably exaggerating for emphasis, or for just, you know, people talking about him, or people talking about it, or just to rile up some interest in Call of Duty again, because not much is going on, as I said, for the next week and a bit. So, very interesting. Now, here we go. This is the following. Fool baits his team all year to make less money than he would playing for the win. In exchange for gas from fans when 90% of pros think you're dirt. Get better, trash can. I want Josiah to make playoffs. Mr. 9,500 out. So basically signing off. That's his little signature, because Temp has apparently the damage record. So congratulations to him. But look, very interesting. So Formal replies the following, just to get through it. Wait, that's $500 cash. Those type of come-ups were rare for us LG guys during the league. Good job, Carson. So whenever you win a league match, you get $500 cash. So obviously, you know, BRACK in beating Temp and Splice, you know, pocketed some money that Temp could have had himself. I threw that series. It wasn't based off anyone on your team. You had to throw you a bone, brother. You've thrown me quite a few bones over the years now that I'm thinking about it. You might be the reason I've gotten fat. Low-key, you caught me lacking when I was underdeveloped. Now you cannot mess with me at all, even one bit. This is pure facts on God. Yeah, you talk a lot of trash for someone who's never won. And let's have a look at that in a second, because Spoons brought this up. Let me just expand this real quick. So these are Temp's all-time performances, effectively. These are his placings at every single LAN event he has ever attended. This one's a little bit weird, because this is the amount of money I think he won from playing in the Pro League. So he's like 29th 5th place in terms of prize money from winning games. But look, I mean, at the end of the day, he hasn't won an event in his career. Fair few second place finishes, but this is the comparison that was made by Lionman, Temp versus Formal, because they were having it on Twitter as a result of this BRACK situation. And I mean, like, if you do want to compare, then, you know, like, to be honest, I'm not one that usually says that players can't talk trash if they haven't won stuff, because I think it's difficult to put into context exactly how much stuff you have to have won before you can talk trash. Because people said it about Kenny, you know, like, he won, what, 3 events last year, but people said, like, if he says anything to Crimsix, then because he has 3 events and Crimsix has 30 odd, then it doesn't count. But it's like, okay, how many are you allowed to have? It's a difficult conversation. But I think to some degree, Temp talking all this trash when he's never actually, you know, is head-to-head on LAN is just disastrous against Formal. So maybe worth keeping your mouth shut a little bit, I might advise. And Archie, who is Brack's father, says the following: your team is going nowhere with your toxicity. Too bad they can't drop you this season now. Guess that is why you're showing your true self and whining like a little girl. Your message truly does not represent your team and further focuses on your failures. Basically, you suck. And Temp says, I possess 10 times more talent than your son. Do better. And he gives the following tweet as well. So, very interesting, very spicy. Thought you might have some thoughts on it in the comments. I'm personally quite confused where this has come from. But of course, it does mean that if LG do make it through the playoffs into the bracket, and they do end up playing Splice in the rematch from Columbus, it will be a very exciting matchup, and these are probably the 2 teams out of Rostermania which people expected the most out of. Maybe you could put Envy up there as well, but I would say LG and Splice, and just to see how well they will do towards the end of the year is going to be an interesting conversation, especially with this beef, whether it is artificial or not, because I would maybe think about that one. Now also this happened yesterday, so Reaper, a new specialist, got added to the game. EasyMax says, I'm all for Reaper joining the specialist pool after Miami. Changed my mind. Now this clip was going around, which you know, it's nothing special, but it's just showing Reaper, and he's got his scythe back out again. So if we have a look at this, this is what has been added. Reaper now available in multiplayer. So you guys may remember Reaper from Black Ops 3. He had the scythe, he had the psychosis, right? I mean, it technically wasn't a he was a robot, but whatever. Everyone called him he. So yeah, weapon, scythe, high damage machine gun with a fast fire rate and suppressing status effect. So it seems to be very, very strong. If not, honestly, I think it's stronger than the Black Ops 3 one from what I've seen. Maybe it's not as accurate, but it seems to kill much quicker. And then they have a radar shroud, which is a minimap jamming device, which probably isn't something we want in competitive. So if that could be removed, then I'm not opposed to having the scythe coming into play. But at the end of the day, I feel like this late in the game, we've already had a big SMG change. It's time to just keep the meta as is for the last 2 events. That would be my personal feelings, but you know, I'm sure you guys will have your thoughts in the comment section below as well. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about today. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like if you did, subscribe if you're new. As always, I would greatly appreciate it. Leave all your thoughts on this down in the comment section below, as I'm sure you will, and we can discuss some more stuff tomorrow, hopefully, if there's enough stuff to talk about. If not, I will see you whenever. So yeah, like if you guys enjoyed it, subscribe if you are new, as always. May have already said that. Thank you guys so much for watching, as always, and I will see you next time.
Jedes Mal. Entweder das One-Shot oder kommt noch 2 Bullets und danach habe ich absolut verloren. Dann fuck mich mal. Das ist aber schlecht.
Ladungen fallen gelassen. Bombe erlangt. Bombe fallen gelassen. Die Mission ist total am Arsch.
Oh mein Gott!
Herzliches an dir. Alle Missionsziele abgehakt.
Oh mein... Ich hätte fast Ace gemacht damit. Ja.